And we of course are here for the Convoy on the Plain 2023. Have we got some racing action for you today? Plenty of races, 5 races through the weekend to get involved with, and lots of off-track action to see as well. But just before we get into the racing, time for a few words from our sponsors.
Have you seen this trailer? If you have, take a photo when safe and then send it to us. All for a chance to win one of our 5 miniature truck and trailers.
Total Care's T8 range of mobile column lifts provides a highly flexible lifting solution for any commercial vehicle workshop. Easy to manoeuvre, the columns can be used across different lifting bays within the workshop and can be stored out of the way when not in use. The super strong lifts can support up to a 7,500 kilogram capacity per column and can be configured in sets of 4, 6 or 8. Adjustable wheel forks provide flexibility for lifting a variety of vehicles and wheel diameters. Speak to our team today for more information or a bespoke quote.
Well then, Ryan Smith and Craig Evans taking their respective pole positions from qualifying this morning. Let's see how it unfolds in race 1 of the weekend here at Thruxton.
Let's thank all our race marshals, the Orange family. We couldn't go racing without our volunteer marshals. So there's the grid confirmed then. Ryan Smith on pole by just over 0.3 of a second from Bradley Smith, the young gun. No relation to Ryan. Certainly his best ever qualifying effort at the wheel of his MAN. Only in his early 20s is Bradley Smith. Actually started racing trucks before he was old enough to drive an HGV on the road in the UK. Second row, David Jenkins, the former champion in number 69 with his MAN, the man from Stafford, alongside number 7, Stuart Oliver. Last week celebrated his 60th birthday. So he's officially an old man, according to a certain presenter who is with us here today. Yes, I've dropped you in it there, Pointy. Row 3, number 12, Michael Oliver with the MAN. First win of the season coming last time out at Pembrey, alongside Stephen Powell, who's still looking for his first win of the season, the man from Kent. His best results, a couple of third places at Pembrey last time out. Well, Ryan Smith, so far this year, has had a total of 6 wins. 3 at Brands Hatch, 3 at Pembrey, but the last 2 races at Pembrey he failed to finish. Some contact in race 4 and mechanical problems in race 5. So he's only a few points ahead in the championship so far this season. Just looking at the points chart, he's only 6 points ahead of Stuart Oliver, the number 7 truck. Stuart Oliver's had a few wins this season as well. He had 2 at Brands Hatch. Had to make a pit stop in race 3 at Pembrey and finish down the order, but a couple of seconds and a third there. So he's second in the points. David Jenkins sits third. He's yet to win this year. Bradley Smith up there in 4th place in the points. He's really been the revelation of Division 1 so far this season, has young Bradley. A man from Gravesend in Kent. He's only 23. Best result of a 2nd place in that final race at Pembrey behind Michael Oliver. Craig Reed in the Iveco sits 5th in the points. As we see the Division 2 grid, that's headed up by Paul Rivette. He's third in their points chart at the moment. Adam Bint in the older Volvo White Aerodyne, the bonneted truck, sits in the lead of the points. 8 points clear of John Powell in the Dutch-built DAF. And there at the back of the field, our newcomer Neil Yates in his DAF CF85. The recovery company boss. We've seen his trucks recovering crashed race trucks at many events over the years. Fine sight they make, parading around the Thruxton circuits. Plenty of show trucks on the infield, along with plenty more attractions here at Convoy on the Plain as well. I can see wipers going. There may well be rain coming down again. This is going to make things interesting. Ryan Smith, the man from Nottinghamshire, in the Northside Truck and Van Daimler Freightliner on pole, run by Worldwide Truck Racing. Bradley Smith alongside him in the number 46 MAN. Through the club chicane. Certainly gets very tight indeed, as you can see through there. It's tricky for cars, that one, never mind trucks. Here we go then, Convoy on the Plain 2023 about to get underway. Race 1 for the British Truck Racing Championship. The pace truck into the pit lane. The red lights are on above the start line. When they go out, we will be racing. Here we go. The power comes on and they head down towards Allard for the first time. Stuart Oliver with a decent start from the second row, but it's Ryan Smith who's got the lead. Side by side. Look at Michael Oliver coming through on the inside. He's had a super start from the third row of the grid. It's almost 3 wide for second place. 2 wheels on the grass for Stuart Oliver, also for Stephen Powell. They're up towards the complex for the first time. Paul Rivette leading Division 2. Ryan Smith's clear in the lead as they head into the right-hander for the first time. Side by side almost for second. Bradley Smith has held his second place. David Jenkins alongside Michael Oliver in the 12. Are they all going to make it through the complex? John Bowler sideways in the number 14. Could lose out to Craig Reed as they come through the right-hander at Seagrave. And they've all made it through the first few corners. Okay, that's great to see. Ricky Collitz, just this point of the circuit is where he rolled his truck a couple of years ago. Ryan Smith, look at him throwing that truck around as they head out onto the back of the circuit for the first time. Bradley Smith in second, Michael Oliver third, then it's David Jenkins. What a great start Michael Oliver had there. Out into the country they go, through the right-hander at Village, then up towards the ultra-fast Church corner. They'll be full out at 100 miles an hour at this point of the circuits. John Bowler's up there in fifth, then Craig Reed. Stuart Oliver, that little grassy moment he had has dropped him right back. He's down to about 7th place. Away go Ryan and Bradley Smith. First and second, Craig Reed sideways off the curb. Holds it together. A spectacular first lap here at Thruxton. Up towards the club chicane for the first time. David Jenkins in the Digraph Transport Morris Lubricants MAN having to defend from the number 14 Rochdale LGV MAN of John Bowler. Then it's Craig Reed, Stuart Oliver, Stephen Powell, Ricky Collitz side by side with Simon Faulkner. You won't get 2 trucks through there side by side. There's contacts. I said you won't get 2 of them side by side through there. Ricky Collitz saves it, but here comes Tom O'Rourke. He's going to go past them both. We're on board with Faulkner in the 92. Paul Rivette, Division 2 leader, comes up alongside. John Powell is through into second in the number 6 in the category. Looks like they're all round the first lap okay. That's what we like to see. Ryan Smith leading by 2 seconds already ahead of Bradley Smith and Michael Oliver. Stuart Oliver trying to fight back, chasing down Craig Reed in the number 68 Ivico Stralis, the man from Stoke, the only representative of the Reed family here this weekend, with Simon busy with work commitments. Chasing John Bowler, looking for his best finish in Division 1, moved up from Division 2 last season. Out onto the back of the circuit they head once again. The best John Bowler's had this year is a couple of 8th places. Michael Oliver going superbly in the number 12. He's only just over a second off Bradley Smith. Look at them sideways there through the back of the circuit. This is full out 100 miles an hour. They are electronically limited to 100 miles an hour race trucks. On the road, of course, they're limited to 56. There's Stephen Powell, who's dropped back. Ricky Collitz a bit smoky there, just ahead of Tom O'Rourke. That's the battle for 9th place. Behind them is Simon Faulkner, Paul Rivette, and the rest of them. On board with Faulkner, there's the number 22 behind him of Rivette. Charging Woodham Hill towards the club chicane for the second time. 11.5 minutes of this race to go. Wipers working away, so there's still a bit of rain in the air. The Napa Auto Parts MAN looking to challenge Adam Bint for the Division 2 title this year. Division 2, very open indeed this season. Paul Rivett, 2 wins at Pembrey. He missed the first race at Brands Hatch and only able to take a couple of podiums, so he's slightly on the back foot as he goes through the season. Up the inside there, Simon Faulkner challenging Tom O'Rourke. Gets very sideways indeed, Simon Faulkner. And O'Rourke, the Scotsman, just about holds him off. There's Bint, chased by Craig Evans a little bit further back. Jim Bennett and Neil Yates, the newcomer, have dropped away slightly. Ryan Smith leading. He's increased his lead by another 1.3 seconds on that last lap. Simon Faulkner dodging about on the tail of Tom O'Rourke as they go through the complex. 2 years ago, Tom O'Rourke had a big accident at that point on the circuit. Recovered to race again at the start of the following year. Craig Reed all over the back of John Bowler. This is the battle for 5th position. The way they're throwing these trucks around like rally cars on this damp surface. So spectacular to watch. I'm reminded of the great Swedish driver Kurt Göransson, former European champion who drove logging trucks on icy roads in Sweden for a living and learnt to drive his race truck as sideways as possible. Used to be a joy to watch when the European Championship used to visit Donington and Silverstone. Of course, a couple of British drivers now in the European Championship, even though sadly it doesn't visit the UK anymore. John Newell is one, Mark Taylor is another, Jamie Anderson as well, the ex-rally driver. Through the club chicane they come. Bradley Smith still second, David Jenkins closing up on Michael Oliver, then this fight for 5th. And the Division 2 battle, is 4 of them now, line astern. Paul Rivett a little bit wide on the entry there. John Powell under fire from Adam Bint and Craig Evans behind. Perfect view from Simon Faulkner's number 92 truck looking back at the Division 2 battle. What's Ryan Smith's lead this time now? He's increased it by over another second. Fastest lap for Ryan Smith, 1:45.635. He leads by nearly 4.5 seconds. There he is, and Michael Oliver's gone wide. Coming into the complex, just understeered wide there. David Jenkins will try to go through for 3rd position. He's up alongside. He'll have the inside line for Seagrave, and the MAN goes up to 3rd, but only just. Michael Oliver's not giving way. He has to now, and Jenkins up to 3rd. That's lost him a bit of time to Bradley Smith, who's going superbly up there in 2nd place. They disappear out of Noble up towards Village. Here comes the 68 on the inside. That's Craig Reed. He's going to take Michael Oliver as well. That slight loss of momentum from going off at the complex, and he's falling back. Now, is he going to hold off his father Stuart? Well, Stuart's not hanging around. He's going to try and take both of them. 3 wide through Church Corner. You can't do that in cars, never mind trucks. Goodness gracious. Something's got to give here. Look at this, the fastest part of any race circuit in the UK, and Craig Reed's held the place. Superb. Craig Reed should take up rallying with form like this. Look how sideways he was there. I don't know how they got through there unscathed. You can't get 3 cars wide on that part of the circuit, never mind 3 trucks. So Stuart Oliver is now up into 6th place. There's our newcomer, 33 Neil Yates. He's still pushing on at the back of the field, just learning the truck, learning the circuits. So Craig Reed is now 5th, Stuart Oliver 6th. Michael Oliver has dropped down to 7th place. No, Craig Reed 4th, I apologise. 5th and 6th are the Olivers, and John Bowler down to 7th. So much going on that lap, I was losing track. Thankfully, these drivers didn't lose the track. They're still firmly on it as rain continues to fall here at Thruxton. Ryan Smith leading by nearly 6 seconds now. Another fastest lap, 1:45.483. Just past half distance in this race of 1 of the 5 this weekend for the British Truck Racing Championship. And it's Ryan and Bradley Smith 1st and 2nd. David Jenkins now 3rd. In Division 2, it's still Paul Rivett. He's a second clear of John Powell. Well, he's not now. They've closed up on him again at the complex. There they are. It seems as though Paul Rivett has the legs on the faster parts of the circuit. Is able to pull away because John Powell is under fire from Adam Bint. Then we've got Craig Evans. There's the battle between Powell and Bint in that menacing looking black Volvo white Aerodyne. Volvo white is a bit of a misnomer for that truck, isn't it? Of course, Volvo had their collaboration with the American White company. Richard Walker used to race a Volvo Whites many years ago, and Slim Borgud, the great Swede who sadly passed away earlier this year. Here comes Rivette. He's attacking Tom O'Rourke, who's dropped back slightly. Division 2 overtakes Division 1. Now, the Division 2 trucks will be getting frustrated, I think, with the MV Commercial MAN. He's a Division 1 truck. He's in a different race to them. They want to continue their own battles. They're going to go past him on the run into Woodham Hill. I think Tom O'Rourke's got a problem. He's slowing down. I can see a bit of smoke there. 5 laps completed by Ryan Smith. He leads by 7 seconds now. Dominance from the 7-time champion once again. He's made no secret of the fact he wants to try and beat Stuart Oliver's record of 10 titles. He'd also want to do the European Series, I'm sure, as well, but it all comes down to budgets, I think. Over the line they go. Division 2 still led by Paul Rivette in the 22. What's the gap to Powell? 1.26 seconds now. Adam Bint third in Division 2. Then Craig Evans. Further back behind them we still have Jim Bennett and Neil Yates. Just over 5 minutes of this race to run. Into the complex. The right at Campbell. Then the left at Cobb. Named after John Cobb, another former land speed record holder. Campbell, of course, Sir Malcolm and Donald Campbell. And then Seagrave, Sir Henry Seagrave. Well, there's our leader. We haven't forgotten about him. He's dropped the rest of the field, as he so often does. Ryan Smith, he always seems to start in the same way. At every race weekend, he clears off at the front in race 1. Of course, races 3, 4 and 5 will have partially reversed grids. John Powell nice and sideways there over on the back of the circuit. The grid for race 2 later on today will be set by the second fastest time for each driver in qualifying, so reverse grids don't kick in until race 3. Meanwhile, David Jenkins has caught Bradley Smith. It's on his tail there. Look at them throwing them sideways again through the chicane. Spectacular action here at Thruxton. Over the line they go. Lead gap is 8.5 seconds. And the gap between Bradley Smith and David Jenkins is virtually nothing. 6 laps completed now by Flying Ryan. Next, Craig Reed, Stuart Oliver, and Michael Oliver and John Bowler have dropped back in 6th and 7th. Stephen Powell is not far behind them. He's had a quiet race so far, the number 3. He won here at Thruxton last season, his first ever win in Division 1, and he celebrated like he'd just won the championship. David Jenkins and Craig Reed just slinging their race trucks around sideways. This is wonderful to watch, making the best of these damp conditions. Jenkins has a look to the inside as into the pit lane comes Tom O'Rourke. I thought he had a problem. Looks like that could be his race over. Most likely a return of whatever gremlins struck him in qualifying. Now, could we see a change for second? David Jenkins is lining up the 46 Ferns and Scrapco sponsored MAN of Bradley Smith. Not to be confused with Brad Smith, who used to race in Division 2 with his DAF. Towards the club chicane they come. Jenkins dodges one way, then the other. Can he get the inside line away from young Bradley Smith? No, he can't. Bradley covers the inside line. Through the chicane, all this is allowing Craig Reed and Stuart Oliver to close up. Next group is headed by Michael Oliver, ahead of John Bowler. They've been caught by Stephen Powell, so this is not over yet for 6th place. Through the club chicane. Next in the order is Ricky Collins, the number 95. Truck re-engined after a spectacular blow-up at Brands Hatch at the start of the season, which coated the run to Paddock Hill Bend in oil. Completing the top 10 is Simon Faulkner. Then we've got the Division 2 battle. There's Collins, the heavy haulage boss from Yorkshire. Michael Oliver down to 6th after his rapid start, after that moment a few laps ago coming through the complex. He's holding off the number 14 of John Bowler. Sponsored by 365 Truck Spares, Rochdale LGV Training, Rapid Rubber and a few others. Out onto the back of the circuit goes the 4th place battle, and still David Jenkins harrying the 46 of Bradley Smith. Ryan Smith's away and gone. He's nearly 10 seconds up the road now. He's got this race in the bag, barring any mechanical maladies. Further back in the order, Jim Bennett still going in 15th place, 5th in Division 2, and Neil Yates still running at the back of the field as well. Now, here comes David Jenkins, second attempt to try and take second into the chicane. He's too far back this time. He won't get him on the brakes through there. There goes Flying Ryan. He's coming up to lap Neil Yates, going into what will be his last lap this time. Neil Yates moves aside, lets the leader through. Neil's gone well on his first ever truck race. Just a learning exercise for him this weekend. Still the battle for second rages on. The gap is now up to 11 1/4 seconds. Fastest lap for Ryan Smith, so he's not easing off. 1:43.595. Now Jenkins is going to try and move into the complexes. He still can't get the inside line away. This is good defensive work by Bradley Smith and by Craig Reed for that 4th place as well. It's a special driver to hold off the 10-time champion Stuart Oliver. Out into the country for the final time. The clock about to count down to 0, so it will be checkered flag this time. Bradley Smith doing a superb job here, looking for his joint best ever finish. He's still looking for his first win. He had a 2nd place last time out at Pembrey. He's going to equal it here. It's going to be win number 7 for the season for Flying Ryan Smith. Now they'll be hoping here that Neil Yates doesn't get in the way at the chicane. They'll hope to get past him before there. Ryan Smith is heading for the line. He concentrates on the battle for 2nd place. Can David Jenkins make a move into the chicane? Well, there's Ryan Smith in the Northside Truck and Van Daimler Freightliner run by Worldwide Truck Racing. It's going to be win number 7 for the season for the 7 times champion. Ryan Smith up towards the line and takes the checkered flag. Ryan Smith starts as he means to go on with the victory. Now what about our battle for 2nd place? Bradley Smith hanging on ahead of David Jenkins. They haven't caught the back marker. Jenkins will pull up alongside, but he's going to be boxed in there on the run to the line. Bradley Smith 2nd, David Jenkins 3rd, 4th goes to Craig Reed and Stuart Oliver in 5th. Great race between those 4. Well done Bradley Smith, a fine 2nd place. Now who's going to be 6th? It's going to be Michael Oliver. John Bowler just holds off a slightly subdued Stephen Powell. He finishes 8th. Ricky Collett is 9th. And then it should be Simon Faulkner. Yes, here comes the Iveco over the line, pursued by our Division 2 winner. Paul Rivette leading all the way to take Division 2. And close for 2nd there, John Powell just holds off Adam Bintz. Craig Evans will be next home. And the final finishers will be Jim Bennett and a lap down Neil Yates. Well done to him on his debut. Unfortunately, we lost Tom O'Rourke into the paddock midway through with some problems. Hopefully he'll be back out for race 2. We'll wait to see if Simon Cole appears as well. Problems in qualifying for him, but it's Flying Ryan who does it again. Win number 7 for the season. And with his main rival Stuart Oliver only 5th, that's going to increase his championship lead as well. David Jenkins was only 3 points behind Stuart Oliver, so he could well move up to 2nd in the points there. Meanwhile, Paul Rivette will close the gap on Adam Bintz in the Division 2 standings. Great race there, some great sideways moments. The drivers coping superbly with these damp conditions today. Let's check out the provisional results then of British Truck Racing Championship race number 1. Ryan Smith, the winner, completing 9 laps. That's 15:51.262. He also got the fastest lap of the race. Bradley Smith 2nd, 10 seconds further back. A great result for him ahead of David Jenkins. Then Craig Reed holding off Stuart Oliver for 4th place. Michael Oliver 6th, just ahead of John Bowler and Stephen Powell. And a small gap back to Ricky Collett in 9th. Simon Faulkner completing the top 10. Paul Rivette in 11th overall wins Division 2. He finished just under half a second ahead of John Powell, who just held off Adam Bintz at the line for 2nd in class. Craig Evans was next home, then Jim Bennett and Neil Yates, with Tom O'Rourke sadly the only non-finisher.
Well, with a DNF from Tom O'Rourke heading the queue to the lunchroom probably, we've of course finished the first race of the weekend here at Thruxton Circuit with Ryan Smith in first. A fantastic result for Bradley Smith in second, and of course Dave Jenkins in the Division 1 third place. Let's head quickly over to Bradley Smith if we can, just whilst they're unstrapping the champ. Come on through here, John boy. There we go, we'll see if we get a bit of room. Right, we'll wait for him to unclip here. Bradley, how the devil, it's knocking in. What on earth have you done here? This is safe, this is best. Absolutely fantastic result. Bradley, incredible. We got second. It's been a row. John, come round here a bit, mate. Come round this way. You don't need to get me in. So Bradley, absolutely fantastic result. You qualified in second place. You started in second place and you finished in second place. What a fantastic start to the weekend.
Yeah, brilliant start to the weekend. Finished on the podium. It was hard race to track right now. We went for kind of a wet setup, so it's right at first and the truck went off. Dave called me up and we had a brilliant race. It's like the last race at Pembrey again. Brilliant fun, yeah, really enjoyed it.
It really was a tussle out there, and like you say, Dave's already been round to congratulate you himself. Finishing on the tails of Ryan Smith, you weren't far behind him, were you?
Yeah, no, I was trying to keep up with him, and then Dave punted me down, so I had to take some defending lines, and obviously you lose loads of time, but yeah, it's brilliant, lovely.
Absolutely, congratulations. We'll get you some silverware sorted. John, stay with me if you will. We'll go and see if we can find Ryan Smith around the front somewhere. Here he is in his cab. It's all go in Parc Ferme here, ladies and gentlemen, down at Thruxton. Now Ryan Smith, of course, showing up just this morning to set up. He wasn't here last night when everyone else was setting up their tents. Still just weighing the truck now, so just for those of you that don't know, as soon as the top three come in, they will have to go over the scales. They weigh the front axle and the back axle with special pads that go underneath the tyres, so that the scrutineer can double check that they've not dropped a few tonne halfway through the race, which would of course make them a lot faster. Let's have a pop round now. We can still talk to Ryan. Ryan, a certainly very early morning, or should we say very late night for you. Saw you arrive before, well, after everybody else. We still had a result.
That's when it's worthwhile, you know. We're shattered. Our teams worked tirelessly. We only went to check the GPS speed because there was no testing here, and we uncovered a whole different level of problems. Look, we don't need to go into them. All I can say is my team are absolutely A1. Even in that race, my chief engineer Arnie comes on the radio. Dave Jenkins has just put fastest lap in, 144 point something. I went, okay, no problem, leave it with me. Boom, 143. You know, it's them points that make prizes, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
everyone counts, especially this year. It's looking like a very tight season.
Very tight season, and you know, everybody's up the game, everybody's spending the money, everybody's spending on the tyres, you know, the whole package. I've got to give Trucksport credit as well, because, you know, day by day they're improving the events, they're getting more noticeable, and I promise you, I think when it gets to the worldwide media and the public, what truck racing does and what it brings to the table and how exciting it is, I think Trucksport are on for something special.
And fantastic thanks as well to, of course, Bark, who help us with the streams, getting in front of so many more fans and spectators every weekend.
Every year it's grown. I arrived here at 4:30 this morning and I could not believe how packed it was with people here coming camping. Honestly, it's a credit to Bark, it's a credit to Trucksport, and it's a credit to the drivers, because without the drivers improving year on year out, there wouldn't be a show, and Trucksport have worked closely with the drivers, and I actually think it's a marriage made in heaven.
It certainly is. Fantastic words from Ryan Smith. Ryan, congratulations on your first win of the weekend. First of many, probably. Let's quickly pop and see if we can find our third place, Dave Jenkins, and then we'll have a quick word with Division 2, wherever he is. Here we are now, side of Parc Ferme with Dave. Dave,
to the front.
Yes, of course. Quickly, let's just move around the front. Got to get the logos in, haven't we, ladies and gents? Come on round, John boy. So, Dave, obviously we saw you moments ago congratulating young Bradley on a fantastic race. How was it at the front there?
Oh, it was brilliant. It was great racing, and I got bogged down a bit off the start. I don't know whether I was just apprehending a bit more wheel spin than there was, but I didn't seem to get going well. If Michael's down the inside, Stuart's down the outside, oh, here we go. And then it sorted itself out. And then Michael made a little mistake that I was able to just capitalise on, and Bradley got a couple of seconds lead, and I thought, right, I've really got to go now. Got onto him, but he just didn't. He was never going to crumble under a mistake from an old boy like me, was he? So he ran in deep a few times, and he really composed himself, got it back, got to the apex, thought about his exit, and just checked out and bogged off again. And it was infuriating to follow him, but great. You know, he had such a bad season last year with some unreliability. He absolutely deserves a good look, and he can clearly pedal the wheels off it. So it was great racing.
It was great to see. The spectators certainly enjoyed it. Dave, thank you very much. I think it's lunch break now by the smell of meat cooking in the air. I'll leave you to go and enjoy some food. Let's have a look now if we can find Division 2 drivers very quickly. John's over the side there. We'll speak to Paul Rivette just quickly. Of course, from the Napa Racing family, and first race of the weekend here at Thruxton, finishing with a first place podium. You've got to be happy with that.
Yeah, it's exactly the way we wanted to start the weekend. If only we could have started Brands Hatch like that at the beginning of the season, eh?
Well, that'd be funny if you could start every weekend with podiums, mate. You know, it's not the way it works, is it?
No, not quite, but it's fantastic to have the Napa Racing UK truck back at the front again and more trophies. So that's 3 wins in a row for us now. We need to really keep this up and keep the momentum going to try and claw some points back in the championship.
That's it, exactly. And of course, we were just speaking to Ryan Smith, it's quite a tight season this year, especially with so few of you in Division 2. It doesn't take many mistakes before you're suddenly at the back.
No, it doesn't, and it's nice to see an extra truck out in Division 2 this weekend as well. So, so that's really good. But, next race we're starting from pole again, and then we're into the reverse grids, and we'll see what happens. Is it's going to probably dry out for tomorrow, but to be honest, I'm loving the wet round here.
It's very slippery.
Oh, it's mega in the wet. It's such a fun circuit anyway, and this 5.5 ton beast in the wet is just more fun than you can imagine. So.
Literally big time. Very quickly before we leave you then, any words for our new friend in the Division 2, Neil Yates? Have you got any words of advice for him joining the British Truck Racing Championship?
I think for the moment he's just hang on in there and keep chipping away. He's come to the fastest circuit we go to in wet conditions without any testing, so if you could ever be in at the deep end, he definitely is. So hats off to him, just for getting it round at the moment.
As they finished.
Yeah, which is really good. So, as I say, he's just got to keep plugging away at it, and I'm sure we'll see him get better and better.
Smooth start to the racing here this weekend at Thruxton as we head into race 2 with Ryan Smith seeing another pole position start.
Drivers need them. Let's have a look at the qualifying times. And Ryan Smith about 0.4 of a second quicker in qualifying than David Jenkins. This is the second fastest time for each driver. So Bradley Smith, who was on the front row earlier on, now back on row 3 behind the Olivers. We saw how quick Michael Oliver was off the line in race 1. Stephen Powell 6th on the grid. A bit of a subdued run to 8th place in the first race. Craig Reed, the only one of the Reed brothers here this weekend. Simon absent with business commitments. So Craig Reed in the only Reed Freight Iveco out there, alongside John Bowler in his MAN. New to Division 1 this year, moved up from Division 2 last season. Richard Collett and Simon Faulkner on row 5, MAN and Iveco. On row 6 we should have seen Simon Cole, but I don't think he's there again, and Tom O'Rourke is there, having repaired the problems with his MAN from race. Then there's a gap, and we've got the Division 2 runners, Paul Rivette, the number 22, alongside Adam Bint, the championship leader in number 5. Then Craig Evans, number 10, 6 of John Powell. Gentleman Jim Bennett in the Seddon Atkinson. And Neil Yates in the DAF. Now, I did say at the last meeting that Jim Bennett's Seddon Atkinson were the oldest truck on the grid. In fact, it's not. John Powell's chassis is slightly older. Ryan Smith on the left in the bonneted Daimler Freightliner. Alongside him, David Jenkins in the MAN. And the Volvo of Stuart Oliver, Michael Oliver's MAN. Look out for Stephen Powell. Scored his first ever Division 1 win here at Thruxton last season, the man from Kent. Could we see a first win this weekend for Bradley Smith? Don't forget the top 8s for this race will be reversed for one of the grids for tomorrow's races. Race truck pulling off into pit lane. David Jenkins just setting himself up there on the outside line. Wait for the power to be unleashed as the red lights go out, which they do now. Michael Oliver was a little bit eager there on the outside. Here we go. Down towards Allard. Ryan Smith makes a great start. Stuart Oliver trying to muscle his way through on the inside of David Jenkins into second place. Bradley Smith's got a good run on the inside as well. David Jenkins gets a couple of wheels on the grass. They're all the way okay through Allard for the first time up towards the complex. Bradley Smith trying to make a move on Michael Oliver. Ryan Smith a little bit of a lock-up, but he's got the lead ahead of Stuart Oliver, the two bonneted trucks. John Bowler's got away well too on the tail of Stephen Powell. Looks like everybody gets through the complex okay for the first time. Ricky Collett side by side with Tom O'Rourke. They had a bit of a bump in race one as well, I remember, and Simon Faulkner was involved there as well as they head out towards the back of the circuit for the first time. It's Ryan Smith who has got the lead in the number one truck, clear of Stuart Oliver, David Jenkins, Michael Oliver. Stephen Powell's got away well. He's up to fifth ahead of Bradley Smith. Good move by him at the complex. Then it's Craig Reed in the Iveco. John Bowler in the 14, then the 92 of Faulkner, who's leading Division 2. It's Paul Rivette ahead of Adam Bintz, John Powell and Craig Evans. We're with the 22 truck as John Powell tries to make a move on the back of the circuit on Adam Bintz, side by side. Michael Oliver and Stephen Powell. We said Stephen was a bit quiet earlier on. He bangs wheels with Michael Oliver. He's much more fired up this time. Here comes the number 3, the HGV Direct sponsored truck down the inside, trying to take fourth place away from Michael Oliver into the chicane. One of them's going to have to yield. You won't fit side by side through there. And Powell's through up into fourth position. Bradley Smith just behind them. But it's a familiar face up front. Ryan Smith will lead as they complete the opening lap. He leads by 1 3/4 seconds over Stuart Oliver. David Jenkins in third place. They rumble and roar their way through into the second lap of this second race of the weekend for the British Truck Racing Championship here at Convoy on the Plain. Bradley Smith 6th ahead of Craig Reed. John Bowler 8th. Here comes Ricky Collett having a look at Tom O'Rourke. They've got the Division 2 pack behind them. There's Jim Bennett, the Seddon Atkinson, the 73-year-old. At the back of the field, Neil Yates on his debut. There is the number 33, just taking it easy at the back of the field, just learning the truck, learning the circuit, learning the sport. Paul Rivette, the multiple Renault Clio champion, used to support the British Touring Car Championship. Chasing now Ricky Collett, who's lost out to Tom O'Rourke. Good fight going on between that pairing. That's for 10th position. Paul Rivette's got to be mindful as Adam Bint is right there behind him. He's only third in Division 2, Adam, in the first race. He wants improvements here, the championship leader. He's a former Division 2 champion a few years ago. There are the leaders, Ryan Smith, Stuart Oliver. 17 championships between those two in the UK. Stuart Oliver, an ex-European champion too. The Daimler Freightliner, that extraordinary Dayglow livery. You wouldn't miss that on the motorway, would you? Stuart Oliver's bonneted Volvo, neither. Well, bonneted trucks seem to be very much a rarity on the UK's haulage fleets. On board with David Jenkins, chasing Stuart Oliver for second place. 11.5 minutes of the race to go. Smith leads by 2.5 seconds. Stephen Powell giving chase up there in fourth. A better run from him this time. Michael Oliver trying to hold off Bradley Smith and Craig Reed. Next in the order, John Bowler. And behind him is Simon Faulkner, improving all the time in only his second full season of truck racing. Started racing in one of the Reed team's Ivecos. And speaking of Reed, Craig Reed clips the back of Bradley Smith. That's damaged the front bumper. You can see the corner missing there from Craig Reed's truck. He's kept it going though. Just clipped the back of Bradley Smith. That's damaged the wheel arch on his truck as well. First real bit of contact we've seen in this race. Division 2 still led by Rivette ahead of Adam Bintz and John Powell. Not so much sliding this time with the drier conditions. Here comes Craig Reed trying again for 6th position as they head towards Church Corner. But again, Bradley Smith swings across and holds him off. So Reed will try again, I'm sure, at the chicane. Still Ryan Smith with the lead. They're closing up a little on Michael Oliver in the 12. Reed, Freightivico, the Ferns, Group MAN. Here comes Craig Reed to the inside. He won't get alongside though. Behind them it's John Bowler heading Simon Faulkner. There's the Division 2 battle, still 4 of them together, and they're not far behind Ricky Collett in the 95. On board with Rivette through the chicane. See how narrow it is from that angle. And that's when your camera isn't filled, your mirrors aren't filled by that big black Volvo of Adam Bint. Very menacing looking truck, that one. It used to be blue and white, but the new paint job, very effective. Another famous driver raced all in black in America. He was known as the Intimidator, the late great Dale Earnhardt. See Dale Gent in the pickup truck championship racing tribute colours to Dale Earnhardt as well. Still putting Rivette under pressure. John Powell third in the DAF. Craig Evans fourth in Division 2, Jim Bennett fifth, Neil Yates is sixth. Ryan Smith leading by just over 2 seconds. In fact, Stuart Oliver closed in very slightly on that last lap, and Adam Bint is closing right up on Paul Rivette now. He's on his bumper there as they head out of Goodwood Corner towards Village and Church. Just under 9 minutes of this race to go. Towards the chicane. Adam Bint tries to get alongside, but he'll be on the outside for the first element of the Napa MAN. Bint racing Volvo, the first truck to run on HVO fuel in this championship last season. It's now been adopted by everyone. It's a greener alternative to regular diesel. Side by side again there between the 46 and the 68, Bradley Smith and Craig Reed. And they're closing on Michael Oliver, the number 12. No change between the leaders, still Smith, Stuart Oliver, Jenkins and Stephen Powell. 2.1 seconds is now the lead gap, so slowly but surely Stuart Oliver is whittling down Ryan Smith's lead. Maybe Smith hasn't changed the setup enough for the drier conditions, who knows. Can Ryan hang on in front? He's not pulling away at his usual rate. 2.1 seconds is the gap. There's no gap at all virtually between these two. Bradley Smith being hounded by Craig Reed. He knows he's got to uphold family honour with brother Simon absent. Hopefully we'll see Simon back for the next round. Here they come down towards Church again. Then up Woodham Hill towards the chicane. John Bowler closing up as well, the number 14 MAN. His last lap time was identical to that of Reed. If anything, Michael Oliver's last lap was a second or so slower, so no wonder these four have closed up. It's 2 groups of 4 effectively from the field. We'll see what the lead gap is this time through. It's back up to 2.5 seconds, so Smith pulls away by a few tenths. Here comes Ricky Collett, and he's really attacked Tom O'Rourke there. Get off, says the Scotsman, over the curb, and keeps the place. That was a bit optimistic there by Ricky Collett, just bouncing off the side of Tom O'Rourke. I thought the 86 was going to be sent into a spin there. That's allowed the Division 2 field to close up, still headed by Paul Rivette in the 22. Up to the complex once again for the 6th time. Still got 6 minutes of the race to go. Tom O'Rourke, who first entered truck racing as a sponsor through his business MV Commercial after attending Convoy in the Park at Donington a few years ago. Ended up sponsoring the British Championship for a couple of years and then bought a truck and decided to have a go himself. Paul Rivette pulls away a little bit there from Adam Bint in the battle for Division 2 honours. Powell and Craig Evans has dropped back a little bit as well, the number 10. The gap is 2.5 seconds between Ryan Smith and Stuart Oliver, whose leader has lapped Neil Yates. Expect to have a new name in the championship here at Thruxton this weekend. We'll hopefully see him out at subsequent rounds as well. Of course, the biggest truck racing festival of the year promises to be Convoy in the Park at Donington in mid-August. There's also the firework meeting at Brands Hatch, where we'll see the champions crowned. Neil Yates moves aside there, lets Oliver and Jenkins through. Just a couple of lengths in it between those two. David Jenkins following a slightly sideways Stuart Oliver. Yes, the gap has increased by a few tenths. It's 3.2 seconds now, so increased by nearly a second on that last lap between Smith and Oliver. David Jenkins right onto the tail of the number 7. Two of the most experienced drivers in the field, 11 titles between these two. Stephen Powell behind them is a former Division 2 champion. Towards Noble they go once again. Just under 4.5 minutes remaining in this second race of 5 this weekend at Convoy on the Plain for the British Truck Racing Championship. Stephen Powell, a better run than his 8th in race 1. Although 8th place in race 1 will give him pole position for race 3 coming up tomorrow. Top 8 in race 1 are reversed on the grid for race 3. And this race will set the grid for race 4 with the top 8 reversed. So it's currently John Bowler who is in position to take the pole in Division 1. Division 2 is flipped around as well, although it wouldn't surprise me if Neil Yates chooses to start from the back as a newcomer. Here comes Ryan Smith. Daimler Freightliner, if anything, sounding a little bit off song as it comes through there. But we haven't seen him pull away by any stretch from Stuart Oliver over the last couple of laps, only by a few tenths of a second, so possibly the Daimler Freightliner not at its 100% best here. He said he was having problems before the event. We heard from Flying Ryan after race 1. So no change in the order once again. Still this group fighting for 5th. Michael Oliver, Bradley Smith and Simon Reed. Through the exit of the complex. John Bowler passing there, lapping Neil Yates. Bowler in 8th place behind these three. So he stands to take pole position for race 4 of the weekend. Still David Jenkins trying his hardest to get up on level terms with Stuart Oliver. There's just over 2 minutes of the race to go now. Here he comes, the MAN, the man from Stafford, up alongside the man from Northumberland. Almost alongside him. Ryan Smith continues to lead down into the chicane. His last lap was only half a second off his personal best. Stuart Oliver leans David Jenkins wide there, holds the place. Good defensive driving by Stuart Oliver. Over the line they go. The gap was 3.9 seconds. Let's see what it is this time through. It's up to 4.65 seconds. So he's pulling away slowly now, Ryan Smith. This may be last lap. We might get one more out of it. It'll be close when they cross the line next time through. We'll wait and see. Stephen Powell still there in 4th, and still this battle going on for the lead in Division 2 between Paul Rivett and Adam Bint, with John Powell shadowing their every move. Craig Evans is closed back up again as well now. Through the chicane. Over the line they go. Rivett leads by less than half a second, with 1, maybe 2 laps to go. Adam Bint getting the tighter line there through Allard. Past the pit lane exit up towards Green. And then into the complex. On the brakes. Adam Bint up the outside. Paul Rivett holds him off. Campbell. Cobb. And Seagrave. Oh, there's been some contact. Ricky Collett's got some damage. The side panel hanging off the 95. I wonder if that's with Tom O'Rourke again, as Neil Yates frantically trying to get out of the way there as his Division 2 rivals lap him. He was out onto the grass. See that bodywork hanging off the side of Ricky Collett's truck. Now, if that gets any worse, although it may well be that we're on the last lap now, he may have got the black and orange flag and had to come into the pits to remove that bodywork. Meantime, here comes Ryan Smith. There's 20 seconds on the clock as he comes into the chicane. Now, will we get one more lap, or are we going to see the checkered flag this time? We'll have to see as he comes up to the line here. Stuart Oliver still holding back Jenkins, and Stephen Powell's catching them for second place. No, just a few seconds before the clock counted to 0, so we will do one more lap. One more lap for Ryan Smith to lead. His lead's up to 5.3 seconds now. Can Stephen Powell get himself onto the podium? He's yet to win this year, the number 3. Best result he's had this year, a pair of third places at Pembrey. And still they battle in Division 2. Paul Rivette's keeping his MAN in the lead. Over Adam Bint, there's a green flag signal showing there. There was a green light flashing. Has somebody stopped at the chicane? If there's a green showing, that means there's a yellow further round at the chicane. Let's just have a look at the timing screen. Has somebody come to a stop? No, I don't think so. There go the Division 2 pack. Still chasing O'Rourke and Collett at the back of Division 1. It's going to be a win for Ryan Smith for the second time this weekend here at Convoy in the Park. David Jenkins up on the curb there. He's going to have one last effort to try and pass Stuart Oliver for second place. We're on board with David Jenkins, and he comes up Woodham Hill down towards the chicane for the last time. Stuart Oliver, just see him through the side window on the right of your screen there as they head into the chicane. Ryan Smith, meanwhile, is coming in to take the victory. Checkered flag waves for Ryan Smith. There he is. And who's going to be second? Stuart Oliver. Is he going to hang on? David Jenkins, one last blast up the inside, but Oliver hangs on. Stephen Powell will take fourth place. Less than half a second in it there. In fact, just over 1 second covered those three. Michael Oliver holds on for fifth ahead of Bradley Smith and Craig Reed. And John Bowler eighth, equaling his best ever result in Division 1. Meanwhile, Division 2, here they come. It looks like it is going to be Paul Rivette. He's led every lap virtually in Division 2 so far today. He takes his second class win. Adam Bint second ahead of John Powell and Craig Evans. Fifth place will go to Jim Bennett, and a lap down Neil Yates will be sixth. But it is Ryan Smith who takes the win. The truck sounding a bit off song there, but he wins by 6 seconds. Just ahead of Stuart Oliver, who was kept busy all the way through that race by David Jenkins. Well done, Paul Rivette, taking his second win in Division 2 to close the gap on Adam Bint in the points race. 10 laps completed there in that race number 2 of the weekend, won by Ryan Smith by 6 seconds ahead of Stuart Oliver, just ahead of David Jenkins and Stephen Powell. Then it got back to Michael Oliver in 5th ahead of Bradley Smith and Craig Reed. They were battling all race long. John Bowler 8th ahead of Simon Faulkner, and then Tom O'Rourke and the rather battered Ricky Collins. 12th place for Paul Rivette. He wins Division 2 ahead of Adam Bint, John Powell, then Craig Evans, Jim Bennett and Neil Yates. Ryan Smith with fastest lap of the race in Division 1. We'll await confirmation of who was quickest lap in Division 2 when the results come in.
And here we are, back down in Park Fermate after the second and last race here at Thruxton Circuit. We see the Division 1 top 3 pulling in with another brilliant win for Ryan Smith, of course. Harney, chief mechanic, running in to speak to them. Let's go this time though and have a little chat to the Division 2 drivers as they pull in further back. We see over here in the distance and Craig Evans. What a battle we saw. These two tussling in and out, forward and back the entire race. We're back further back now. Where is it? We've got John Bowler, Simon Faulkner, good results. It looks like we're trying something different today. Getting the guys in the outside first. We're going to wait for Division 2s to come up the inside by the looks of it. So if we head back down this way here, we're waving in Tom O'Rourke now in the 86, Spruhoff and MB Commercial sponsored MAN, followed behind by Ricky Collett. We spoke to him earlier on, and what a heritage he's got in the racing scene of the trucks. And of course, here he comes, Paul Rivette in the Napa Racing livery MAN. Quite an attractive unit is the MAN. Of course, Craig Evans. Hi Craig. Let's talk to Craig whilst we're waiting. Craig Evans fresh out the cab. Is it as warm as it in there as it is out there?
Yeah, that was why I backed off. I was behind Bradley, really giving his up. Obviously giving him a little nibble. And he started going 94, 95, 96, and I had to back off, let the truck cool down. It's so humid, it's just unbearable. But the truck, yeah, tonight we need to do some more cooling mods because I was just getting too hot behind Bradley.
I know that, you know, boy racers, not to say you are one, they squirt water on their intercoolers. Is that something you're allowed to do, or something
Yeah. That's what we have, like 3 nozzles on the intercooler, 2 on the radiator, and we've got all ducting. But I was engrossed with Bradley. I looked down, saw 94, 95. Well, nothing's worth taking the engine. I don't like going too hot with it, but it's good. It's the sun didn't really help. It's that humid.
It's very.
But no,
funny, isn't it?
we had a really. To be fair, we just stayed together. I felt I was a little bit quicker, but to put a move on would have ended in disaster.
It was so close.
Yeah,
we saw you look for that gap so many times,
Yeah.
and it was like, oh, is he going to do it? No, he shut the door on him again.
Yeah, no, it was good. To be fair, we're all so close, you know, like the young ones, if you want to call us.
Yeah.
We're so close, but I really needed to rain to compromise the others.
I think you might have made it past then.
The rain is what I just love it. Absolutely love it.
Well, fantastic job, Craig. Well done. What a battle. We enjoyed that thoroughly. We appear to have lost Adam Bint already. Let's see if you can squeeze through here without losing your ankles. Binty's over there. We've got John over there as well. Honestly, they're like a fart in a collar to these drivers. You never get them where you want them. John Powell descending down now in his cab. John looking over the truck, just making sure. Seems to is everything okay? You look quite concerned then by the truck.
Yeah, it's getting on.
I think everybody's getting hot. It's a very weird weather at the moment.
It is very much so. It's definitely Thruxton, but the gauge is right up. All the levels right up.
All the drivers are looking quite warm as well. I know we just spoke to Craig and he was having a few issues with the heat as well, getting on the engine.
That's this wet look gel.
You can see it running down your face. Well, John, we'll let you get back to the garage. Good job on the result. I'm going to throw it back to Dave in the studio now, and we'll see what else is going on here at Thruxton in these very warm conditions.
Is that right for you, buddy?
Right, we'll pre-record trophies then, yeah? Good job, John. Thanks, mate.
Have a word with the car. Have a word with the blue.
That's all we do, podium. Do you want any pre-race for tomorrow? It's a free day. Like, not extra for today, is it? Yeah.
I could tell my tyre when we were changing the start smelling the rubber like I was just on the whisker with you then. Like,
And then are you on about doing the trophies live then, or recording?
I just touched up to it, just bounced it, and I was like, go on, go.
So making Danger Thunder too, mate?
Live, do it live. Okay, we'll try and do it live then. We'll try it then, we'll try it. Okay. Fair enough then. Okay, so do you want something to card whilst we're waiting? I might just do a little quick chat now. I'm going to do, yeah.
Very unhappy.
Why?
thought if he won that race, I'd not buy everybody ice cream. In the team.
Feel like you missold that statement then. Tell you what, they're only £3 here with a flake. That's about, yeah. I was like, what?
Oh, now I feel better.
Yeah, £3 with a flake. I was like, bloody hell. I'll have 2 at that price. Right, okay then. After race chat with Paul Rivett, then okay, ready to go to card? Yeah.
You know the score, you've got to have that one going in somewhere. Otherwise I get told off.
We'll lead, okay, ready?
Yep.
It's going to record this one, okay.
I am in the course.
Here we go. Paul Rivett in 3, 2, 1. So, the day's over, the racing is done. Another fantastic result for Paul Rivett. Taking the first place for the second time. I have to be careful how I say that. I usually mix it up and go, you got second place again. You're like, whoa. Fantastic day for Saturday. This interview is probably going to be going out before the race tomorrow, so it'll be Sunday when people see this. So how did you sleep?
I'm actually sleeping in the back of my work van, but I'm sleeping just fine in there. So
That's good. I've had the tour actually. It's a handy little setup there.
Oh, it's not even that one. That one's beating the dust. I'm
Oh,
literally
no.
in the work van.
Oh dear. Yeah, well, we've all been there. Again, 2 trophies in your first day at Thruxton. Brilliant results. I feel like the team are really getting behind you, and we had a new anti-roll bar fitted on the Saturday, or the Friday night in fact. Do we think that's made a significant difference?
Yeah, it has made a significant difference, and thank you very much, Craig Evans, for helping us out with that. Sorry, Craig Reed for helping us out with that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, it has made a difference. We've still got to do more with the truck. Understeering that race was absolutely terrible, and it was just a case of managing it from the front. But still seems to have the pace from some of the Division 1 boys, and
yeah, it's interesting to see, and you're not the only person commenting on that. It's strange. Are they slow or are you fast? I think it might be a little combination of the both of them, to be honest. But you are certainly nipping at the heels.
Yeah, I think the progression that everybody's making in Division 2 with the trucks and just moving forward and the standard of driving, it's getting higher and higher. So we've just got to keep it up and keep the momentum going.
This is it. I mean, whereabouts are you in the overall championship? Do you concentrate on things like that, or you just get through the year and see what you get?
I think we were 3rd coming into it. I don't know where we are now. I haven't really looked at it much. For me, it's head down at the moment. I just want to try and win as much as I can. We're 4 in a row now, and hopefully by the end of tomorrow it'll be 7 in a row. But that's easier said than done, of course.
Well, of course it is. And to think where you came from as well, as the issues you had at Brands Hatch at the beginning of the year, we didn't even think you'd be racing at Brands, and to get on the track at all was a miracle.
Yeah, Brands was a case of sort of scrambling what we could out of the weekend, unfortunately, but that has put us on the back foot. But yeah, this Napa Racing UK truck, it's just getting better and better. So's the team. I'm understanding more and more driving these and on the engineering side as well. And thank you to everybody in the paddock that's been helping us out as well and teaching me. It's been a big learning curve, obviously, big in more ways than one, but and it's just been fantastic. So I've got to thank everybody knows who they are that's helped me. So massive.
Everybody who knows, and I'll show you who they are. Come with me, John. Monkey was seen rearranging himself on TV a little while ago. Monkey, come on in. He's on the team. Monkey, come on over here. We've got some more people. We keep saying Napa family, but we never show anybody else. Jill Folks is running away. She's lovely. We got Wayne Eason and Andrew Fulcher here now. These guys are heading up the Napa truck racing team. You are. He just hangs around next to you, right?
Making me look good.
He does a fantastic job. Obviously, both of you guys have got a British truck racing heritage behind you. You've been here, you've done it, you've got
We're legends. We are legends.
Absolute legends.
In our own bedrooms.
In your own bedrooms, oh, careful. Now, I mean, with regards to running the team and obviously having that experience, what kind of driving tips have you been given? Because we all know obviously Paul's had more driving, I think, with the Clios and yourself, Wayne, as well. To come across to trucks, obviously it's a slightly different ball game, isn't it?
To be fair, it doesn't need it, to be fair, mate. He's just always been such a durable driver, so he doesn't really need that bit of guidance. A lot of it maybe is a bit more understanding the chassis, but as far as the driving goes, He doesn't need that.
We've never actually told him that though, so this is now ruined that, hasn't it?
Oh, we don't let him see it. It's fine. As long as you keep him away from TV for the next 10 to 15 minutes, it's okay. This won't go out till tomorrow anyways. It's Sunday now, effectively, so he won't know it's happened at all.
That's good. That's better.
And with regards to how we started the year, Andrew, obviously all the issues we had, you know, you've got to be a little bit more relaxed, and we started to settle in now and figure out to concentrate on the racing.
Well, the truck wasn't where we wanted it to be at Brands. You know, we have to admit that it was a shame. It was a rough start. You know, three gearboxes in. You know,
that's a lot of gearbox in a day.
In a day was, you know, the guys. It's like F1 tyre changes. The guys can do gearboxes in, you know, the shortest time possible now. But yeah, it was a rough start. But we're improving the truck every round. Obviously, it's beginning to show now. It's a shame for us. It's a shame for Paul because obviously we started on a bit of a back foot after Brands in terms of the championship points. But we'll keep plugging away. All we want to do now is just keep winning, keep the points coming in, and see how we go.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to be in it to win it, and it just goes to show that reliability is a massive factor in the trucks as well, because as soon as you start losing races or not finishing races, more importantly, especially with such a small pack in the Division 2, it can make a huge difference, can't it?
Oh, massive, yeah, absolutely massive. There's no margin for error, but, you know, the biggest thing is it's not how you start the championship, say you finish it, so now it's head down, learn from all what's gone on, put it right, and just keep going forwards.
And then Wayne, just focusing on a bit of your background, what's going on in the shadows. What are you focusing just on the trucks this year, or have you still got other championships going on?
No. I'm looking after the Napa Mini team, so we run the JCWs and the trophy cars. So luckily enough, this weekend we're not racing, so I get to come here and put my feet up in the motorhome and watch all these guys.
It's come to annoy me. So.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's just, to be fair, it's just that extra pair of eyes and that gives Andrew a help, bit of setup info and so on and so forth. But no, the mini team thing, going back to the minis, is going well. We won last time out all with Jamie Osborne, bless his heart. So. It's good.
Yeah, because your young'uns racing one of those, isn't it?
Callum's racing. Yeah, he was here with the touring cars. Had a really good race until he got caught up in someone else's accident. But yeah, he's really finding his feet now. Bless him.
So one to watch, certainly. Well,
just all thanks to Napa, obviously, in terms of Napa for all they do. Because you know, I know you've been talking to Paul probably about the Napa family.
We've heard about Napa a little bit.
And obviously they did run away, most of them, because they're a bit camera shy. But you know, Napa racing.
It's a proper family atmosphere, the Napa thing, mate. Really is. Yeah.
Well, fantastic to speak to you guys. Nice to see some team behind the action. Of course, speak to a couple of old drivers. We'll say old. I mean, they used to do it. 2, 1. So a fresh day and more truck racing action, but of course that means it's
time for race 3.
High five. Yes, good man. Race 3. Here it comes.
Let's have a look at the grid then for our third race of the weekend. It is Stephen Powell, number 3, with his MAN on pole position. 8th place in race 1 yesterday. Number 14, John Bowler, will be starting alongside him in his MAN. Row 2, it's the Olivers, Michael and Stuart. Stuart, father of Michael, MAN and Volvo. Row 3, Craig Reed with his Iveco Stralis, number 68, alongside the man we just heard from, 69, David Jenkins. Row 4 is Bradley Smith, great second place for him yesterday with his MAN, the youngest man on the grid. And Ryan Smith, no relation, starts alongside him, the 7 times champion. Row 5 is Ricky Collitz, number 95, with his MAN alongside the Iveco of Simon Faulkner. And then on the 6th row, we will see Tom O'Rourke, the Scotsman, in number 86. And hopefully we will see Simon Cole alongside him in number 41. Simon had problems in qualifying yesterday, failed to race in yesterday's 2 races. We'll hope to see him back out for this one. Then there's a gap of a few rows, and we have the reverse grid for Division 2. Number 33, newcomer this weekend, Neil Yates with his DAF, starts alongside 28 Gentleman Jim Bennett in his Seddon Atkinson, the oldest man on the grid. Then we've got number 10, Craig Evans, who we just heard from with his MAN, and number 5, Adam Bint, the points leader in Division 2 with the Volvo White Aerodyne. At the back of the field, 6, John Powell in the DAF, and 22, Paul Rivette. We were saying there, the trucks are limited to 100 miles an hour. They're limited to 56 on the road, of course, but electronically limited to 100 miles an hour for racing, and if you exceed that speed limit you will be penalised. Paul Rivette was found to have exceeded the speed limit in race 2 yesterday, having taken the win 3 times, and therefore was disqualified. Adam Bint also exceeded that speed limit twice, and he got a time penalty, so it was John Powell who inherited the class win in race 2. That will affect the grid possibly for race 4 later on today, but not for this race. So we'll see the they come then. Stephen Powell on his own on the front row. Michael Oliver has now dropped back into the second row alongside his father Stuart. It's time to go racing here at Convoy on the Plain, here at Thruxton, with the first of 3 races today for the British Truck Racing Championship. The revs begin to rise. Some 18,000 horsepower about to be unleashed on the Thruxton circuit. Here we go, the revs are up, we're underway. They head up towards Allard for the first time. There's already contact among Division 2 with Adam Bint clipping the back of Jim Bennett, but it's Stephen Powell who has got the early lead. They head through Allard and green corner up towards the complex for the first time. Simon Cole a bit slow away, so still possibly some problems there. It's Craig Evans who's taken the early lead in Division 2 from the second row of the grid. Jim Bennett drops the back. It's Powell that leads from Oliver. Michael Oliver in third place. David Jenkins is fourth. Craig Reed moving past Bradley Smith. Ryan Smith trying to get through as well in the number 1. Ricky Collett under fire from Tom O'Rourke further back. They've been battling each other all weekend. Ryan Smith has a look as they go towards Noble. We're on board with him. He gets squeezed out by the 46 of Bradley Smith. Starting to make his way up the order already, but it is Stephen Powell, number 3, the man who lives virtually next door to the Brands Hatch circuit in Kent, who leads the way as they head out into the country for the first time through Village Corner up towards the tremendously fast church, the fastest corner in the country. They'll be flat out at 100 miles an hour. What a sight they make as they charge through the Hampshire countryside. Stephen Powell leads from Stuart and Michael Oliver. David Jenkins in 4th, then a gap back to Craig Reed in the Iveco, the red truck, in 5th position. Down towards the chicane, they're up Woodham Hill and down towards the club chicane. It gets very tight indeed through here. Stephen Powell, number 3, the Dines Recovery and HGV Direct sponsored MAN leads. Battle is on for 5th. Craig Reed ahead of Bradley and Ryan Smith. Then Simon Faulkner going well. There's contact there. Simon Faulkner clips Ryan Smith. They make their way through. Simon Faulkner's made a good start there up into 8th place. And it's side by side for 3rd. David Jenkins having a go as they go through Allard. Trying to take Michael Oliver. They lead on each other. Get off, says Michael Oliver, and holds that 3rd place. The ever ebullient David Jenkins on the attack. Behind Faulkner, it's Collett and O'Rourke fighting it out for 9th place. Here comes Jenkins on the inside of the complex. We don't very often see overtakes through there. Michael Oliver a bit wide onto the tarmac runoff area. Jenkins will have the inside line for Seagrave. He may get through here. No, Michael Oliver keeps his foot in and holds him off. This is allowing Craig Reed to close up on. They're still not quite overlapping there. David Jenkins gets 2 wheels on the grass. He's determined to get alongside the MAN of Michael Oliver. Stephen Powell has the lead. This is allowing the top 2 to escape. Stuart Oliver giving chase in the number 7, looking to take his first win since Brands Hatch earlier this year. He draws up alongside. I don't think he'll make a move at Church. Moves back in behind the number 3 of Stephen Powell, looking for the 2nd Division 1 win of his career. Pick up the Division 2s shortly. That's being led by Craig Evans, the number 10. There's a bit of a bottleneck off the grid there because of the slower trucks of Neil Yates and Jim Bennett starting up front. Adam Bint clipped the back of Bennett. Here comes the battle now for 3rd position. Ryan Smith's on the tail of this little group. He's attacking Bradley Smith. They come down into the chicane. He's going to try and go up the outside of Bradley Smith. He may have got that move done. He's attacking Craig Reed. Nearly clips the back of the Iveco. Smith driving in his usual style, one hand on the wheel, the other changing the gears. Here's the Division 2 battle, and Paul Rivette's gone to the front. Well, it didn't take him long to get through the pack from the rear of the grid. Craig Evans in 2nd place. Adam Bint is 3rd. Then it's John Powell. There was a bit of smoke there, I noticed, coming with Woodham Hill. That may have been Jim Bennett's Seth and Atkinson smoking. We're on board with Craig Evans, 2nd in Division 2, chasing Paul Rivette. Stephen Powell led by 0.38 of a second at the end of the 2nd lap. Ryan Smith's up to 6. He's got ahead of Bradley Smith. His next target is Craig Reed as we go through the complex. Craig Evans putting Paul Rivette under pressure in the MAN, the Volvo of Adam Bint in third place, chased by John Powell. We lost Simon Cole, unfortunately, on the first lap, so clearly more problems with his MAN, sadly, the former Mercedes pilots. Still, David Jenkins unable to get past Michael Oliver, and there's been contact there between Craig Reed and Ryan Smith. Look, Ryan's missing the front bumper. Well, the front bodywork off his number 1 Daimler Freightliner. Chasing Craig Reed as they go up towards Woodham Hill. It's a good drive by Craig Reed. He took his first Division 1 win at the last race of 2022 at Brands Hatch. He's a special driver to be able to hold off Flying Ryan. I think he may have hit the side of Craig Reed. You can see the side panel pushed in on the 68, the man from Stoke. Ryan Smith from Nottinghamshire. He's going to have a go on the inside into Allard. Bodywork flapping away in the breeze, but he's got through up into 4th place. Into 5th place, I should say. Because it's Powell who leads from the Olivers. Stuart Oliver still putting him under pressure. There's the battle for 3rd. David Jenkins still unable to get through. It's not the easiest track to overtake on Thruxton. Stuart Oliver's going to have a good go here at Stephen Powell for the lead. 10 times champion. He's been European champion in the past. Stuart Oliver as well. 3 British drivers currently contesting the FIA European Truck Racing Championship. 2 of them you'll be familiar with from last season in the UK Championship. John Newell from Yorkshire and Mark Taylor, number 81. The other British driver, Jamie Anderson, the ex-rally driver. Stephen Powell still leads. Paul Rivette still leads Division 2, looking to challenge Adam Bint for the top of the points. Stuart Oliver now looking to make a move on Stephen Powell, who moves to cover the inside up Woodham Hill. Can Oliver get him on the brakes here as they come down to the chicane, the Northumberland-based driver? No, Stephen Powell will hold the inside line. The MAN continues to lead the way. 8.5 minutes of this first of 3 races today for the British Truck Racing Championship still to go. Ryan Smith running a little bit deep there into the chicane. Michael Oliver still 3rd. And we've got David Jenkins on board with Flying Ryan, 5th position. Up over the line they go, past the pit area, past the control tower as you come out of the chicane as well for the airfield here at Thruxton. One of the circuit commentators will be in there today, Richard Neal and John Ward on circuit commentary duties. Still Stuart Oliver cannot make his way past the number 3 of Powell. It's a good drive by the former Division 2 champion. Here is the Division 2 battle. Rivettes from Evans, Bint and John Powell. MAN, Volvo and DAF. Neil Yates is still ahead of Jim Bennett further back. They're having their own private scrap towards the back of the field, the veteran and the newcomer. As Paul Rivette holds off Craig Evans. He is desperate for that first Division 2 class win. Had a couple of seasons in the championship with his MAN now, the number 10. More through consistency than out-and-out speed he's found success in the series. 22 MAN continues to have the legs of its Division 2 opposition here. Stuart Oliver, has he got a run on the inside this time down into the chicane on Stephen Powell? It looks like he has. Here we go for the lead into the club chicane. Powell gives him room and Stuart Oliver takes the lead. Oliver into the lead in the Volvo VNL. Stephen Powell goes down to 2nd. What about the battle for 3rd? Yes, Ryan Smith has got past David Jenkins up into 4th position, now going for Michael Oliver for 3rd. Now, how much time has he got to catch the 2 leaders? 6.5 minutes once he can get past Michael Oliver, which I'm sure he will. Michael, a tenacious racer, and he's blocking almost Ryan Smith there through Allard, defending his position quite vigorously. He'll hold 3rd place into the complex. Meanwhile, the battle in Division 2, Adam Bint up the outside, John Powell to the inside. You can't go 3 wide through there, surely. They're going to manage it. Adam Bint cuts in and takes that 2nd place. That was pretty spectacular. And Craig Evans could be shuffled back to 4th here because John Powell is coming through in the DAF. All this battling's allowing Paul Rivett to get away. Evans moves to cover into the complex. Oh, that was a daring move by Adam Bint in the Volvo white Aerodyne up into 2nd place around the outside. Evans has held 3rd. Looks like Michael Oliver will wait to see if he's held 3rd place in Division 1 as well. Hard to know where to look. 2 great races going on at the same time in this first race of the day for the big rigs. Adam Bint's always a fan's favourite, always spectacular in his menacing looking black Volvo. Used to be in the blue and white livery of CMG Recovery. And yes, Ryan Smith has got past Michael Oliver up into 3rd position. David Jenkins is going to have a go at the number 12 as well now. The ever aggressive David Jenkins down the inside. Oliver gives him room into the chicane. Through to 4th goes the 69 Digraph Transport Morris Lubricants MAN ahead of the GT Tyres machine. Craig Reed and Bradley Smith are next. On board with Bradley Smith's MAN. See there, Thruxton is not quite as smooth as it looks. It's a pretty abrasive surface on this circuit. Can be very tough on tyres. See the suspension working away on the MAN of Bradley Smith, and a little bit of steam coming from the water-cooled brakes as well. Simon Faulkner still going well in 8th place. Tom O'Rourke's got ahead of Ricky Collett for 9th. Further back behind them, some 12 seconds back of the Division 2 boys. Fastest lap for Stuart Oliver, the race leader, 1:39.021. Average speed of nearly 86 miles per hour around the Thruxton circuit. Some people will be surprised at that speed in a car, never mind a truck. Shows how hard they're pushing these machines. Just under 4 minutes to go. Just the one retirement so far. Sadly, we lost Simon Cole on the opening lap. He has not had a lot of luck this season. He only lasted a few laps in race 1 at Pembrake. There's Collett in the background, the yellow MAN. See Division 2 in the distance as well. Very flat circuits, being an airfield. One of the home circuits for the British Automobile Racing Club here on BARC TV. There is Simon Faulkner, the Brooklands plant Iveco Stralis. It's, I believe, an ex-Simon Reed machine. Up ahead of Craig Evans, the battle is joined now in Division 2. Look at this, Adam Bint has caught Paul Rivett for the lead. And he's having a go round the outside into the chicane. I don't think Adam's going to get through there. No, you don't, says Paul Rivett. Holds him off. Adam Bint, maybe an older truck, this Volvo, but he's so quick at the wheel of it. I believe the oldest truck in the championship is the DAF of John Powell in 4th place in Division 2. Just caught a glimpse of it there. Although with a new truck in the series at the back of the field, we don't know the age of the DAF raced by Neil Yates. That's an ex-John Bowler and Stephen Powell machine. Here come the Division 2 battle, a little bit sideways there. Paul Rivett, he's going to slide wide on the exit of Campbell. Cuts it back, holds the lead. John Powell's putting Craig Evans under pressure for 3rd as well. Just over 2 minutes of the race to go. They thunder their way out towards Noble and out into the country once again. Can Paul Rivett defend his lead in Division 2 just as Stuart Oliver is defending the lead? He leads by 1.5 seconds from Stephen Powell. Adam Bint pushes his way up the inside. All contact there going through Village Corner. That could have been disastrous. Nice save by Paul Rivett, keeps his foot in. One of the fastest parts of any circuit in the UK. Bits of Ryan Smith's bodywork there into Church Corner. Adam Bint is really determined here to get ahead of Paul Rivett. Meanwhile, the leaders go across the line to complete 8 laps. 2.7 seconds now the lead, so Stuart Oliver's pulling away. Ryan Smith is in 3rd and he's done the fastest lap of the race. I think they're on their last lap now. Should see the checkered flag next time around, I think. As Paul Rivett continues to defend from Adam Bint. Steam coming off his brakes, showing how hard he's working that Volvo white Aerodyne. Craig Evans pushing on in third. Don't know what he's got the windscreen wiper going for. There's no rain today so far. John Powell in fourth place. Well, Division 2 have been the highlights of this race, really, their battle for the lead. Division 1 looks like it's going to be Stuart Oliver. But can Adam Bint make it a double for the bonneted Volvos? Through the complex they go for what will be the final time. Here come your leaders. Stuart Oliver ahead of Stephen Powell. There's Ryan Smith in third place. Stuart Oliver's pulled away. He's going to take the win in the first race of the day, the third of the weekend for the British Truck Racing Championship. There is the man from Hexham in the number 7. A 10 times champion, 1-time European champion, down into the final chicane. There's 10 seconds left on the clock, so I think the flag is going to go out this time. Stephen Powell in second. I don't think Ryan Smith is going to catch him. Up they come towards the line. Is the checkered flag going to go out? No, it's not. We are going to do another lap. I think Stuart Oliver across the line with about 2 seconds to spare there. I thought that was going to be checkered flag this time. It can be tough to call with a timed race. He's got the lead up to 3.3 seconds. Well, that's the last thing that Stephen Powell wanted to see, because Ryan Smith is likely to catch him now. He's just done a 1:38.398, new fastest lap of the race. He's only a second behind Stephen Powell now. And here's the battle for fourth place. Jenkins, Michael Oliver, Craig Reed and Bradley Smith have all closed up. There's Simon Faulkner behind them as well. In Division 2 it will still be Paul Rivette who leads Adam Bint. Michael Oliver trying to make a move, trying to take fourth place back again. There's been some contact in there. Look, you can see the wheel arch flapping a bit on Dave Jenkins' truck. And Craig Reed almost pushing Michael Oliver there as they come through Noble and out into the countryside. Here comes Flying Ryan. Attacking Stephen Powell, who tries to turn across him at Church Corner. That's the fastest part of any circuit visited by this championship. That was brave by Powell to cut across there and hold that second place. Stuart Oliver's going to win it, but who is going to be second? What can Ryan Smith do into the chicane for the final time? Here comes Stuart Oliver, coming up to lap a couple of the Division 2 trucks, but he's going to take the win. Stephen Powell defending vigorously here. Ryan Smith will try and force his way up the inside. He goes over the curb, side by side. Stephen Powell cuts the curb on the other side. Oliver wins it, and Stephen Powell, is he going to hang on the run to the line? Only just by about less than a truck length there, by 0.26 of a second. Now who's going to be fourth? David Jenkins is fourth. Craig Reed trying to push his way up the inside. A photo finish. That was nearly a three-way photo finish for fifth position. Who got that? Well, the next 4 trucks home are covered by half a second, and we're still not finished in Division 2 either. Look at this. Craig Evans is coming up on the outside of Adam Bint. Are these 3 going to finish 3 wide as well? Paul Rivette from Adam Bint. I can't keep up with this. Paul Rivette's going to come in. He gets his foot down out of the chicane. He's going to win Division 2 for the second time this weekend. Second for Bint, third for Craig Evans. What's happened to John Powell? There he is. He's had a problem on the last lap. He's slowed up. What a finish there. So many battles. We didn't know where to look. The battle for fourth place, Jenkins, Reed, Michael Oliver and Bradley Smith, were covered over the line by just over half a second. It doesn't get much closer than that. Stuart Oliver taking the win. That's his first win since Brands Hatch on Easter weekend. And Stephen Powell just holding off Ryan Smith, who was trying so desperately to get ahead of him at that final chicane. We'll need to look back at some highlights of that race. Well, things nearly went wrong for Division 2 off the line, because Adam Bint was a bit eager to get down the outside. He walloped Jim Bennett. Craig Evans went straight through the middle to take up the lead. Look at that, they were almost 5 wide over the line. That just set the tone for the rest of the race. Stephen Powell led the early going from pole position in Division 1. Ricky Collett shedding bodywork in the early stages. I wondered where that had come from on the side of the road. Paul Rivette defending vigorously his lead in Division 2 despite the best efforts of Adam Bint. That could have ended nastily. How Paul Rivette didn't spin there, I'm not sure. and then an incredible finish. Well, incredible finishes all the way down the field. Stuart Oliver, the winner, by 3 3/4 seconds ahead of Stephen Powell, who just held off Ryan Smith for second. Ryan got the fastest lap. And then this incredible four-way battle headed up by David Jenkins, Craig Reed, Michael Oliver and Bradley Smith. Simon Faulkner was 8th ahead of Tom O'Rourke and Ricky Collett. And then Division 2 won only just by Paul Rivette ahead of Adam Bintz. Craig Evans in 3rd. John Powell slowed on the last lap. He finished 4th. Neil Yates taking 5th in Division 2. And Jim Bennett was the final finisher. Sadly, we lost Simon Cole with problems on the opening lap.
Well, an absolutely fantastic start to the day for Stuart Oliver. Sees him take his first place podium, closely followed, of course, by Stephen Powell, friend and partner in crime for the truck sport. We see as well Ryan Smith ending in an unfamiliar position for him in 3rd place. Let's see if we can't get a little word with Steve Powell first of all. Oh, look at this, a true professional, helmet off already. Steve, that was a hell of a battle, my goodness me. You finished turning things off and on?
Yeah, I'm all good now, yeah. That was hard. It was really hard. I'll just, mate, that is really easy. I had the pace to do it. With one bend, I just thought that broke myself a little bit. Got out the inside and just, like, it's so women are a lot for it. Ain't worth risking it in the church, you know, so he had a better run and then he gapped me a bit. I'm pleased to stay with him. And then obviously they're telling me Ryan's catching like he always does, but how he caught that much of that last time, I don't know. But,
it's incredible the way he went through the pack.
The minute you're being chased, I don't know, it's just nature. You just try to defend a little bit anyway, which you shouldn't do, and I didn't. I did for the first bit. I thought, no, we'll get out of this complex, I'm all right. And then we had a good run coming up into the game.
It took a couple of laps, to be honest. I mean, there were some close shaves coming through the complex between you and Stuart, and we were all going, oh, blimey, that looks a lot closer than it should.
It was really weird. He was quicker in the first right. I was quicker through the complex and out the back, and he's quicker out the chicane. And I knew this from last year. So I thought if I could get a few lengths in front coming out of that, I'm all right, you know. And it's just brilliant to be fair for us. Look, we've been racing a long time in Division 2, but to mix it now with the likes of them two in Division 1, I'm so happy for me. I'm so happy for the team, the sponsors. They've worked so hard. And to be in the middle of them two, mate, like, what, 18 championships between them. This time in a few hours, I'm going to have them.
You never know, you never know. Just keep fighting that fight. Steve Powell, congratulations. We'll get you a beautiful trophy very soon. I believe we'll have, yes, Stuart Oliver over in the distance there. We'll just wait for Paul Rivette to stop moving. And we've got the hands up there, so we're safe to go. Follow me through, John. Come on through. Stuart! Well, Stuart Oliver, congratulations on your first place there.
Thank you very much. That was, I'm not saying it was easy, it's never easy, but yeah, when Steve was driving well, defending well, but I knew I had the pace on him everywhere, but it was just a matter of time before he left a little opening and I went through it. So.
Yeah, he said it was a real fight all the way through the first half of the race, but he's still extremely chuffed with his second place, but you've got to be even more chuffed with your first top podium result for the weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, there's another two this afternoon. Hopefully we can repeat it, but we're starting further back on the grid in the next ones. But no, that was really good. I enjoyed it, and you know, we did a few tweaks to the truck last night, and it's paid off. So you know, we're just going in the right direction.
Of course, no John Bowler this morning, so that saw a little reshuffle of things at the starting order.
That's right, yeah, I've never known that before, when you're on the grid and they say, oh, when you're setting off, you've got to go on the other side. But no, it's, I don't know what's
racing.
Yeah, John's missing in action somewhere, but obviously the Saturday night party must have been a bit too much for him.
You know what, in his defence, he actually had an early night, believe it or not.
Did he? Oh well, it must have been too early. That's maybe the mistake.
Well, an abrupt end brought down on the British truck racing here at Thruxton Circuit following a serious incident out on track. I can, of course, happily report that nobody was injured and everybody is back up and about. The driver himself is fine, and the truck hopefully will be back at Donington as well. But of course, they have unfortunately had to call an end to the truck racing here at Thruxton this weekend, missing out on the last race of the day. So we apologise for that and look forward to seeing you again at Donington, where we bring you more racing. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you at Convoy in the park.
Have you seen this trailer? If you have, take a photo when safe and then send it to us. All for a chance to win one of our 5 miniature truck and trailers.
Total Care's T8 range of mobile column lifts provides a highly flexible lifting solution for any commercial vehicle workshop. Easy to manoeuvre, the columns can be used across different lifting bays within the workshop and can be stored out of the way when not in use. The super strong lifts can support up to a 7,500 kilogram capacity per column and can be configured in sets of 4, 6 or 8. Adjustable wheel forks provide flexibility for lifting a variety of vehicles and wheel diameters. Speak to our team today for more information or a bespoke quote.